Right, here we are back map time again. I think when we last spoke we were at a place called Yankton, which was up here. As I think I might have said on previous videos, this was the boring bit, so as you can see that was just one long straight road up to a place called Waterloo where we stayed. Then we dropped down to Princeton, and that's where we were aiming for Morris, which was up here, and Princeton's where we had the wheel bearing failure, so we'd done that on the day that the bearing failed, fixed it, and the following day once we fixed the bearing we went right across to Chicago, a place that makes us laugh, called Gary. I mean, why you call someone Gary in the middle of Chicago, it's quite funny, but there you go, it is to me anyway. And so we flew along and stayed at a place called Sandusky. That was quite nice, and that's where we had a nice meal. And then from Sandusky we headed up, skirted around Cleveland, went up some of the coast road, which was really quite pleasant, and then stayed outside of Buffalo and had a 2-night stop there at an Airbnb. Stayed with a guy called Rick, really nice. He also had a bike, you can see the pictures of that in the video. And we then for a day went up to Niagara Falls, came back. There's some ski resorts around here, would you believe, and popped in and saw one of those. And then he suggested, or we wanted then to go over to a place called Watkins Glen, where there's a famous racetrack. Used to hold Formula 1 races here. But what I didn't appreciate, it's a bit like Castle Combe in the UK. I mean, you got a racetrack there, but the village of Castle Combe is beautiful, and it's just like that at Watkins Glen. There's a racetrack here, but the you'll see of all the cabins and the waterfalls we walked through. It's a really pretty place. Right, so where next? We're heading up to a place called Kennybunk to see a friend called John, and that's right up here. So the next, by Friday, we want to be up here, and that's where we're heading towards. Okay.
Maybe we couldn't help it. Maybe we never should.
Hi guys, right, well, it's the 22nd of June, another little big day for us. It's Karen and I's wedding anniversary. We've been now married for 32 years, so we're staying at an Airbnb for 2 nights. We've got our own little cabin apartment type thing. It's a little self-contained unit, really very pretty, nice place to stay. Also got a lovely hot tub which we'll be using, what we used last night and again tonight. So right, another big thing that happened a couple of days ago, as you know probably from earlier in the video, we cracked the 10,000 mile mark. Yay. Before we came we thought, right, okay, well we might do somewhere in the region of 8,500 miles, something like that, but no, we actually did. We've done 10,000. We've obviously clocked a bit more than that now, so really pleased with Goldie, the way he's performed, and so that was, yeah, absolutely great. So next up, we are lost for words for a second. Not a good thing to do when you're trying to do a video, but hey ho, it happens. I've been asked by a few people. We quite often meet people on the way, and we've inspired a few people, to be fair. Yeah, we want to do it. We're going to get a trike. There was a guy yesterday we spent a good half hour chatting to, that he was going to buy a trike. So a few things that I'll put on the video now that might help people that are trying to decide to go this way or not. One is helmets. You've heard us talk about helmets when it's been raining, so on and so forth, but here's my crash helmet. Now, as you can gather, there are huge amounts of types of crash helmets, whether you're riding a horse, motorbike, skiing, driving a race car, driving a motorbike. They're all designed for certain types of things. Now, this looks like, to most people, a normal helmet, but no, it's actually a touring helmet. Now, it's got quite a few features on it that make life a lot easier for us, so I strongly recommend. Now, the first thing is what's called a flip helmet. So if you grab the front bit here, as you can see in some of my videos, that clips up like that, and you think, well, what use that might be? Well, if you're hungry, for example, it's quite an easy way to eat, because if you've got a full face there, you can't eat. If you want to speak to somebody when you pull up at a toll booth or whatever, they can actually hear you rather than all the sound being muffled in the helmet. So a great feature. Plus, if it gets warm and you're stopped at lights or something like that, you can flip it open to get a bit of extra air in there. So that's the first feature that is really handy. The next one, which unbeknown to some of you might not know, is obviously you get sunny weather, dark weather, especially, for example, if you're going into a tunnel and it's quite sunny outside, and then you go into a tunnel and you want to do something, you can't keep putting sunglasses on and off, or your glasses on and off. It's an impossible task. So what you've got here, if you look, well, I have to open the visor up, hopefully you can then see that I've got a button on the top of the helmet where this dark visor comes down. So obviously, if you've got your dark visor down, you're driving along, what you can do, you've got a little button on the top of the helmet, you press it, hey presto, your dark visor goes up, which is dead handy. A couple of other little things that are quite useful, especially in hot weather. You've got a vent here, and then it vents out here, so that stops your visor from steaming up. another must. It seems really simple, but again, you wouldn't think of it if you weren't going to go and buy a helmet. You see this little tab, so I'm getting the picture, little tab here, makes it really easy for opening the visor up. If you had to try and do it here, especially when you've got gloves on when it's cold, it can be very tricky to get your visor up. So always try and find a helmet or a visor that's got a little tab on like that, so you can easily open and close the visor. And the last thing on the helmet that we've got and makes it life easy so we can chat to one another as we're going along is an intercom system. So we can turn it on there, we can take phone calls, and we can listen to music as well. Don't tend to do too much of that, listening to music, because obviously we're chatting to one another. So yeah, I think that's about it. Obviously we've got the mic in the front, we've got earpieces inside. So that's a little bit of description about the crash helmet. And if you're looking to go triking or biking, especially just for touring, I'd advise that type of helmet. Okay, well, what next? As I said, we're here till tomorrow morning, and then we're going over to a long-term friend of ours, John, over in Maine. Okay, hope you enjoy the rest of the video.